everyone! Happy Friday and happy International Dance Week. I'm just gonna wait for a few more people to come online and join the video call. I think the lighting here is not so great. Maybe I'll move like this. Hey Jamie, welcome! You're really gonna like the talk today. I'm very excited about it. Hey, okay, there's Marynn. Let me have you join in. Let's see. How do I do that? Marynn, can you actually request to join? Maybe this is the button. Yes. Hey, Alejandra.
Hey, how are you?
How are you doing?
We're good, and you?
I'm good. I'm really excited to talk to you in video chat in person because I've never done it before.
Yeah, we always talk, but never in person.
I know. So to everyone who's joining, oh, Parminder's here. Hi. I'm so excited to share with you all that today we have an amazing guest speaker with us, Marynn Rouzier. How do you pronounce your last name?
Rouzier.
Rouzier. Oh, that was really off. Rouzier. She's joining us from Haiti, and we're going to be talking today about how political instability and the situation of COVID-19 is impacting Haiti and the lives of the students, as well as dance and security as far as safety. So during this talk, we have a few topics we're going to start with, and anyone is invited to ask questions along the way, because we hope to provide to you all a very informative discussion and also very engaged discussions. We're super excited to be here. I'm very excited to be here, and thank you so much for your time. I know that you're going through a lot right now.
Yeah, it's been a pretty rough 2 weeks, but we're settling down.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine. So first, I will introduce myself and my program, and then I'll pretty much pass it on to you and have a few questions to guide us through the discussion. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so hey everyone, my name is Christine Chahiari Lopez, and I am the founding director of Transformación Ballet here in Guatemala. And my program has about 120 students, and 50% of those students are here dancing for free on scholarship. And of all my students, 25% are from orphanages and children's homes. And I also have other support programs for academics, and also we're a Christian ballet ministry, so we have conferences to teach them about what it means to be a daughter in Christ and peer pressure, and also we're teaching them about menstruation and things like that, because in most developing countries they don't teach girls about their periods or their bodies, and so it's something that's very important for them to understand, especially as dancers, because we have seen here that I've had a few dancers who dropped out when their period started because it's something very taboo or not discussed, that when it comes, they aren't aware of it. So that's made me be a little more proactive in that sense as well. So really getting onto the education of health as well with my students. So Marynn, I'll let you just tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Hi, I'm Marynn Rouzier, and I'm the assistant director of Institut de Danse Lynn Rouzier, better known as IDD LWR. We have actually been alive, and the school has been functioning for 54 years now. Next year will be our 55th year, and we hope to be back in our building. A little history about us. 2 years ago, on July 7th, our building was burned down in political issues in Haiti. And we have about 250 students, about 30% are on scholarships, and just like you, they come from orphanages, they come from home, some people that cannot pay for dance, but are amazing dancers and deserve a chance. A lot of these kids travel with us and go to YAGP, and we've placed third last year. Sadly, because of political situation and COVID-19, we did not travel this year, because it's not only COVID-19, we've been in lockdown since we did September, October, November in lockdown. So Zoom classes are not new for us. And it's a lot of what we teach is the same thing as you. Like, a lot of these kids don't know, like when they get their period, a lot of them drop out because it's taboo, or you're told some of our kids are told that when they have their period, they have to stay in bed the whole day. So it's hard to explain to them, well, you can't do that. When you have a kid, you can't stay in bed. You still have to wake up and be a mom. So you still have to get up and be a dancer. So we don't only try to teach kids about ballet. We do ballet, we do hip hop, we do Haitian folklore because we think it's very important they know their culture and where they come from. So Haitian folklore is a very major part of our dance education. But we also try to make that the higher class society and the lower class, like all the kids become one and
Yeah.
mesh and become friends. Because after the dance world, when somebody wants a job and the owner of that business was a dance friend, you have a bigger chance of getting a better job. And that's one of our theories.
Yeah. And can you actually just share a little bit about how your building was burnt down? Because I don't think people exactly understand the level of political instability that's happening in Haiti because it's not on international news. So unless you have someone in Haiti or you're looking at the Haitian news, I think that we're very much unaware, and I'm very much ignorant to the political situation. For you telling me exactly how heavy that's impacting everyday life, especially
Well,
you can talk about status and your building.
yeah, the political situation is like I told you a while ago, we just spent 3 months on lockdown. So basically, people are not happy about the government. People are not happy about the way the president is dealing with stuff. And they start manifestations, and the manifestations end up in complete lockdowns. Schools, like people go on the radio and say if they see any kids in the streets with school uniforms on, they take them out of the car, take their uniforms off, throw their bags. Like kids can't go to school, anything can happen. And it was July 6th and 7th when they tried to raise the price of the gasoline. Within 30 minutes, the country was completely locked down. I mean, you couldn't make it from 3 blocks. So that happened on July 6th and July 7th. There were lots of riots on the streets, and they were just going, and people were just burnt. Like if somebody had a problem with somebody else, they would just burn down their buildings. And they
Oh
were
my
just
gosh.
going in and looting all the stores. And there's a cell phone company behind the dance school, so they were burning that.
Oh my
And
gosh.
now they we still some people say they did throw like cocktail Molotov cocktails in our building, but it was from the yard of behind us that the fire started, and we lost everything. 53 years of costumes, 53 years of memories. The building had just been renovated it was 3 months old basically after renovation and
Gosh.
completely gone.
And point shoes too. Share how many point shoes you
Oh,
lost, because that's
we had just gotten an order from Gaynor Minden, so there was over 60 pairs of point shoes, and we had the biggest stock of brown colored Gaynor Minden in the world at that moment because they had sent them all to us. But I have to be very thankful and thank Gaynor Minden because they were amazing with us, and they sent a lot of donations and a lot of things our way after they heard what happened. So we're very
yeah,
thankful to the Gaynor Minden community.
amazing. Yeah, and how heartbreaking for your dance school to have just undergone political instability and then now this COVID-19 which is happening, which it's like an extension, and is it putting more political, I'm assuming it's putting more political pressure on the government, which is causing more riots and manifestations, or no?
Yes, there are some random manifestations going on. I mean, it's less because some people are actually scared of the COVID-19, but they are manifesting. They are rioting. Like I know you know, but nobody else, like everybody doesn't know this. Two Fridays ago, we were sitting home watching TV, and 5 men came in with guns and robbed us at gunpoint and took all our jewelry and all the money we had in the house. Because it's 3 months lockdown, and basically the country was going sort of normal for only 2 months, and now this whole COVID-19 thing. So it's pretty hard. It's pretty difficult around here right now.
Gosh, yeah, I could never imagine being held at gunpoint during a lockdown, and like how many other families are scared that that's going to happen to them as well.
I
It's
just
it's
We got news last night that the same neighborhood I lived in, because we moved house. We're at a friend's house right now, but the same neighborhood I lived in, the same thing happened again yesterday. So
oh
it's
my
becoming
goodness.
more and more common because people are desperate. People,
Yeah. As far as safety how is the police system there? Could you rely on the police to help, or is that not
Y-
a is that not a
You
thing?
can rely on the police, some of them, when they're not fighting within each other. Because there's also now the police is separating into two groups, so they're having their own issues also. Because
Oh
some of them want
wow,
to raise salaries, some of them want this, so they're having their own political issues.
wow.
So it's not
Oh
easy.
yes, I see a comment here in Nigeria that seems like the same thing is happening. In Nigeria, news just came in that places are being robbed for weekly consecutively because of the lockdown. Yeah, so I guess people are trying to stake territory and pay me or
Yeah,
else.
people are desperate for money. People are desperate, and it was like my son. He's 11. He's like, but he told the robbers, "You're telling us you're hungry. You're robbing us for because you're hungry. Why aren't you taking any food?" But I think they're just taking. It's also taking. It's people are desperate, but they're also taking advantage of it.
Yeah. Oh, that's so hard. I see another comment is coming in from Jamie. She is a ballet teacher in Texas, and she actually came down here the day before the lockdown here started. So she came down here to volunteer with us and left like within 24 hours, actually.
Oh well.
Yeah, and she said it's sad to think people in the U.S. are complaining and protesting about our situation when it's nothing compared to everything else in the world.
Yeah, I have some of my kids that I have no idea how they're doing right now because we also have an electricity problem, which you know about.
Yeah. Oh my
And
gosh. And then yesterday we had a talk with a dance director from Venezuela, and then the day before that with Daniel from Nigeria, who's actually making comments right now with Leap of Dance Academy. The same, like electricity instability. Here in Guatemala, they turn off electricity a lot, but to work on it because they continuously have problems because of the way the electricity is put together and constructed. But can you tell us a little bit more about the electricity instability?
well, the electricity was privately owned and the government just took it over. And now they don't know how to use the machines. So
Oh
all
my
the machines
goodness.
are so all the machines are now broken down. So our electricity issue right now is not doing good at all because
Oh my
they
gosh.
took it from the private company. They made it government owned and it's a mess. So some of my kids, I have no idea how they're doing because they're they're not able to join our Zoom classes. They're not. There's some kids I have no idea how they are, which is heartbreaking for me because they're my kids. They're
Yeah. And also, if you can share a little bit about your program, I know a lot of dance schools are a family environment. However, there's not many dance schools that are a family environment that dance at the level of technique that you teach. So, can you give a little bit of information just to tell us about how your dance school is able to not only train elitely children, but also create that dance environment where you have children from orphanages, children from low income, children from high income, and really trying to treat them all equally to make a nice family environment. If you can talk a little bit more, because I know that a lot of people who just joined have dance programs
and
around the world.
I'm happy to say that I see a lot of IDD past and present members joining. So I'm really happy to have them online. But I mean, our first thing, hey Valu, how are you? Our first thing is when we join, we don't tell you welcome to the school. We tell you welcome to the family. If you're not walking in with a smile on your face, then something's wrong. And we try to say something's not wrong with the child or the family. We try to figure out what's wrong with us or the teacher that the child doesn't want to go to class with.
Wow. Wow, that's a
So
lot of extra work because you care so much about the students.
we try to put the students first. It's not always possible because we still want to be at the YAGP level. We still want our kids to go and to thrive in YAGP because again, it's not a regular thing that countries like us are going to YAGP and getting third place at regionals. It's not a big thing.
Yeah.
So we make sure that the kids come in with a smile. We make sure that the teachers understand the kids to make
Mhm.
sure everybody stays one family and everybody knows that everybody is equal. We are extremely, like when I say extremely, I mean extremely, we are extremely strict with the uniform standard.
Mhm. Yeah.
That
Oh,
means
yeah. That is.
everybody has the same uniform on. Nobody's wearing jewelry. Everybody has the same leotards. Everybody has the same ties. We're very strict with the uniform standard so that nobody can come up and show and say, I have this, $40 leotard and another kid's wearing a hand-me-down. Everybody's completely the same. And that, I think, helps a lot to make our community a family, because we're raising kids. If you raise them that everybody's equal, they will grow up knowing everybody's equal. But if you raise them that you're superior to everybody else, then that's what you're going to get. So in our classes, we make sure the classes are equally mixed. There are equal amounts of kids from orphanages to kids from wealthy families. Everybody's mixed together. There's no segregation in any way. If an orphanage is the first time in our program, we might take them in for a month, give them a separate class just to make sure they know how to behave and how to act. Just teach them, make sure they speak enough French, because we make sure everybody speaks French. We have an English program that I know they do pen pals with your kids, so that the kids that don't speak English can learn how to speak English. So we try to get as much uniformity as possible to make everybody feel welcome and the same.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, that's the same thing that that Daniel from Nigeria was saying. His students they're all non-paying low-income students, and he said if it wasn't for the uniforms, it would make dance class a divide. And I remember growing up, I had my leotards, they were all uniform, but on the days where you can wear whatever you wanted to, like if your parents can't afford a $50 or $60, I'm not going to say the brand, but there is a specific like Japanese leotard that is very expensive and custom made, and it's like it was a trend when I was dancing in high school. And I remember all of the girls who had them were girls that always had their hair like done every month, and they had those leotards. And I remember I was like, oh man, I'm trying my best. I know I'm not the best in my class, but I always give my best. And on top of that, I feel like these girls look so much cooler than me, and and it did create that separation, and it's difficult.
It's very different. I think that's why sometimes people think we go above and beyond, but if it's not the school uniform, like on Fridays they can wear whatever colors, but it's still with the school logo, so that even though they have different leotards, but it's still the same range of leotards. And we make sure that our orphanage kids, our lower income kids, we have a possibility for them to get their hands on those leotards. We have sponsor systems. We make sure they get their leotards. If the kid shows up in the leotards in bad shape, we find a way and we change it, and we make sure. I mean, we're not going to change. If a family is really destroying the uniform and we feel like every month we have to change it, then we have a little conversation, but we try to make sure that everybody stays in the same standard.
Yeah, and I just want to share with everyone here watching, I don't think most people know, but Marynn how do you pronounce your name?
Marynn.
I think I'm not pronouncing
Marynn.
Marynn.
Like the fear and the crowd. Like the U.S. Marines.
Oh, okay. She is actually on my advisor board for Transformation Ballet and she's been giving me advice as to like steps to take whenever I work with more students from an orphanage or mixing classes. And even it's her idea that helps me here in Guatemala structure my scholarship program with the students, making sure their grades are staying above 80. And also the same thing goes with their uniforms, making sure the kids know that it's their responsibility and that dance is a discipline. And so I want to thank you so much for teaching me that, because what you're teaching me, I'm transferring to the students. They know they have to take care of their dance clothes. They know they have to come on time. And as you said, like when they come in late, now they do two squats or something for every minute late that they are. So if they're 15 minutes late, that's like 30 squats, and they don't like doing it. And then I make them do it well. And if they do it bad, I'm like, do it again. Because like
I told you, nobody likes squats, nobody likes push-ups, but it works. Right, Ilka?
Some of your students know. They're like, yes.
Yes, some of my students know. But it's uniform. I mean, sometimes people think kids don't want to be disciplined, and the kids actually want to be disciplined. When you're tough on kids, I mean, I'm tough on my kids, and they love me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, Sorry. I have a question about, so before we move into more of the structure of your organization, I want to talk a little bit more about the difference between what your organization and how you run your school because of COVID-19 looks versus before you started. And I know because of the political instability, it maybe looks the same or a little bit different, but I think that's something that most of the world is not aware of. So can you enlighten me and enlighten all of the viewers?
Okay, I would have to say like last year, 2018, 2019, we were a regular functioning school. I mean, we had our building burned down at the end of 2018, so we were renting a new building, but we were a regular functioning school. We do 2 shows a year because ballet is not very, it's hard to get people to appreciate ballet in Haiti. So we do our ballet program separate, and we do our hip hop and Haitian folklore program. We do one in May, one in June. So we have 2 shows, which was what 2018-19 looked like. Regular functioning kids coming to class 4 times a week. It was a regular functioning program, scholarship kids coming. Starting 2019, 2020 was completely different. We started off the year maybe taking with YGP plans, understanding very fast that that was not going to happen. We started doing Zoom classes since September. We were a little bit shy about doing Zoom with the little kids. So the little kids, we would send them stretching exercises. We would send them things to do at home with their parents, which was slow. And whenever it was what we call pays loc, which was a 3 months of political instability, you could find 2 or 3 days of calmness. So it would be a constant watching the news, watching politics, and then, okay, today's calm. So text message all the parents. There will be class today at 3 o'clock. And then 3 o'clock, all the parents rushing in, bringing kids, trying to get classes in. So whenever we could, we would get classes in, whether it was a Monday, whether it was your regular schedule or not, we would just try to bring the kids in.
I remember that. I remember when you were telling me about that. Actually, I remember once when you texted me, you're like, oh, I'm in the car and I'm going to be here for an hour because there's no gas or something, or there was, I'm not sure, I don't remember what it was, but
there was the gas situation also. So you would stand an hour in line to get gas for your car. So when we brought the kids in, we would bring them in for 1 to 2 hours to try to take class whenever it was possible that there was no political problem. Mm-hmm. So I think when COVID-19 started, the parents were already knew we were going to move to Zoom. The big difference is now we cannot go into the studios at all. So the school is functioning. The kids are having 3 hours of classes a week, but all Zoom. So it's very different.
Program financially, and were you able to continue your accepting all the students that were coming from the orphanage, because I know that they have the responsibility of transportation to your classes? How did that impact, so in summary, how did the situation and political stability impact, 1, the financial situation and sustainability of your program, and 2, the students that were coming from orphanages with transportation that was coming from the responsibility of the orphanage?
Okay, one thing. I didn't say that people, I said that people don't really know how to appreciate ballet, so we keep ballet separate. It's not about a money issue. It's a matter of trying to put ballet where it belongs. When you mix ballet with hip hop and folklore, the beauty of ballet gets lost. That's why IDD makes 2 different shows. It was somebody that put a comment there. But how it affected our orphanages is that 2019, 2020, my orphanage kids have not been able to come to class at all. Mm-hmm. There is no funding because as you know, the orphanages have to bring them to us. So they can't get them to us because 1, there's no funding. 2, how safe is it to bring kids in a bus from point A to point? I mean, when a parent's bringing a kid in a private car, it's different than when you have 8 or 9 kids or 10 kids in a bus.
Yes. Yes.
So it's really hard. And these kids also right now, they're having internet issues. So they can't log on to the Zoom classes. So we are already preparing for next year's program so we can help these kids get back to the level of where they belong. Because it's not fair on them that because of political problems, because of COVID-19, they have to be lowered a class or something like that.
Yeah, totally.
So we're already preparing a program because they already have less hours than the rest. if the orphanages can't bring them as often, they have less hours. So we are already preparing a program to help them get back on track and be where they need to be, which is a lot of work.
Yeah. I think the whole entire world is going to go through what the preparation that you have been making. They're going to have to figure out how to do that with all of their normal students, because Zoom classes are definitely not the same. And well, my students are taking YouTube classes because Zoom is not possible if you don't have a cell phone that has a camera. Like if I can't see the student because the cell phone is such low quality camera, then like a Zoom class wouldn't work. Especially because of lags, and if it's based on data, and if data isn't strong in a certain area. Yeah, so as far as here, I'm thinking, okay, so now my position is more give them their dance classes, motivate them, give them their daily challenges and daily Bible verses, and support them in any way, and we'll see what it looks like afterwards, because technologically, there's nothing more that I can do.
Yeah, I mean, on Saturdays, I don't give them Zoom classes, but I send them ballet steps and they have to make a drawing of that steps. I mean, we have to keep them engaged and keep them interested because a Zoom class is not the same.
No.
It's not the
YouTube is even
same.
less, I
Yeah, a
understand.
Zoom class is not the same. The kids are not as, they feel lost and you can't correct them the way you want to, and you see something going wrong and you cannot touch your kid, and it's very frustrating. It's very frustrating.
Yeah, okay, we have a few more questions, but before that, can you, oh, okay, so yeah, a few more questions, but before we get to those, can you share how your studio financially has been impacted from the political situation as to now and the sustainability? Because I'm not sure if the political situation, I'm assuming that it means multiple parents no longer have the same jobs that they did, or they can't get to jobs, so they're not able to pay you because they need to pay for food and perhaps school. Can you share a little bit more about that?
Well, a lot of parents have tried to send their kids to live in other countries. So
Oh.
we've lost, there's a few kids that have left the country. There's also the situation since the building burned. We are paying rent right now. And we are not the kind of studio that if your parent loses their job and you can't pay, we're not going to say keep your kid at home. That's against every fiber of our being. I mean, we will find a way to make it work. So it has definitely affected us. Our construction should have started already and it still has not started, but we're hoping because we need to be back home for our 55th anniversary. So
And just to share, the IDD LWR, right? IDD LWR, they,
LWR.
I'm like, oh, what are all the button numbers? They do have GoFundMe up if anyone is interested in supporting them or sharing their page. Because if you can't give financially, even sharing their page and sharing the story is a great way to maybe connect with other people who are in a place right now to financially support them. Let's get to one of these questions. So let's see. Jamie from Texas, ballet dancer in Texas, says, are your dancers participating in Zoom regularly? Many studios in the US are having trouble with kids not showing up to their classes.
Jamie, what I did do is I actually do attendance. I actually do attendance because as a teacher, there are kids that will always join and there are kids that will always take their classes. Hi, Nicola, one of my son's friends that just joined. And then other parents get upset of why is this kid always in the front? Why is this kid always better? So to try to limit this issue, I'm taking attendance to try to encourage parents to make kids attend classes. Because I did notice at the beginning when I didn't do attendance that it was the same kids that are almost never absent in regular classes that were always there for Zoom. So from doing attendance, it has gotten a lot better. And they're even called when they can't join because of internet issues or electricity issues. I actually get a text message and they actually excuse themselves from class, which is actually amazing to me.
Wow. Let's see. Okay. And then, well, Jamie also asked, what countries are they being sent to? Are they other countries like in the Caribbean or just sent to family members?
Right now with the COVID-19, I'm getting a lot of calls that my kids are coming back as soon as they can. But they've been sent. I have some kids in Canada. I have some kids in the States. I have some kids in France. They're just anywhere that there's family because it was 3 months no school.
Oh gosh. Huh.
Yeah, September, October, November, because of political issues, we had no schools. So
And then now there's no school as well, or is there
yeah,
school?
so
How?
a lot of schools in Haiti only for this whole school year have actually had 60 days of school year.
Is bad.
It's yeah, it's pretty. I know the government said, I think I don't know how they're going to do it, but first, second, and third grade are automatically going to pass to the next level. I'm not really sure. I don't understand what they're doing, but first, second, and third grade are going to go to the next level, and then there's going to be some kind of test for the higher grades. I will let you know once I
Wow.
understand it.
Yeah. Wow. I never even. Wow, that's a lot. So they're basically having like an entire half year of no school by this time. By the
Yeah,
time that this, and if like a
yeah,
few months, it's going to be half a year without school.
yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. And have you seen that impact the way that your students are interacting in the Zoom classes in any way? Does it impact their responsibility or their motivation not going to school? Because that structure is so important for kids.
I think the fact that we are doing Zoom, that they actually see my mom and I, and we have one teacher, Ronael, who comes over to teach also. I think the fact that they see us when we have the harder part is when we have to say goodbye to them, when we have to end the meeting. They don't want to go because I think the kids are tired of I mean, it's a long time to be home. The kids,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
see their friends, even if they can't see all their friends, but they see some of their friends. So it usually takes us about 6 to 7 minutes of bye, bye, see you in 2 days, bye. And it's heartbreaking because I don't want to be that person to press end meeting, but you can see they don't want to leave. So a lot of them, sometimes they join the class and you can tell they don't want to work, but they just want to be in the environment.
Yeah.
So it does affect my older kids. No, my older kids are working as if normal. They're giving it 100 miles an hour. They're doing everything. But my younger kids, you can definitely see we have to do the hip hop. Like today, they have Haitian folklore at 4 o'clock. We have to give them some kind of fun and some kind of play with them a little bit. And they're
Wow.
starting at the beginning. Everybody was wearing their uniform, complete uniform for Zoom class. Um, Now I see some kids coming in pajamas, and I see so we're trying to get that into discipline because we still want them to know ballet is a discipline. So we would like them to put their dance. Like we've told them, you don't have to put your tights on, but at least put your leotard on. So we're trying to hold a little bit of that because pajamas is not okay.
Oh, okay. I do have someone asked me a question. I think she's going to be watching this afterwards, but she asked, as far as this doesn't have to do with the political situation, but as far as having a program that is a dance studio, and aside from that, you have this whole other set of students that you're trying to reach out to, which has its own type of communication that you need to have. It's more energy when you have to talk to, for example, an orphanage which is understaffed and they have to transport themselves, and maybe one child is late, so then the whole group comes late. Just asking about the dynamics of that and how do you, as a director, I guess be responsible and disciplined, but also loving to children that are coming from very difficult situations.
The first thing you have to do is, yes, you have to try not to treat them completely differently. So if they are late, you find out why they're late. If it was one child that made the whole group late, that one child will get the punishment and the rest won't, because it's also not fair to punish the whole group because one person made them late. And it's also, like I told you, when they first start, we take them about a month alone to make sure that they're ready socially because the kids that come from orphanages, I don't know if you've noticed that, they cling to each other. And it's
I
very
force them to
hard.
stand next to the other kids.
Yeah, it's very hard for them to make friends with the other kids. So we try to take them for a month and try to teach them ballet, try to make, what to do and what not to do. And then we integrate them with we make sure we integrate them with a very open group. And we try to integrate them young. So that way they grow up in the system. But it's very difficult not to, because sometimes you want to get upset at a whole group of kids and it's not this. So it's very difficult to, even with the phone situations, you have kids showing up with iPhone 11s and all these. We can control the dance uniforms, but we can't control the dance bags and the phones and the things like that. So all that has to be done in a way that we try to have IDD bags on sale, and we make sure they all get a bag so that everybody tries to be as equal as they can. Hey, Larissa.
And actually, I learned that from you as well, the importance of really making sure that they physically look the same and giving them even little hair accessories, because some of the girls have like, I don't know how many bows, or like JoJo decoration things, and like they don't wear the huge bows to class because they're not allowed to, but like these like little headbands, and I was like, oh my gosh, these kids have so many accessories. And then I was like, okay, I need to get my children from the children's home accessories as well, because otherwise they're going to be like, I'm plain and boring, and the other girls are like all decked out. It's absolutely not necessary, but I'm like, if you want to wear like a little scrunchie that's like blue and sparkly, I don't care. Because sometimes I come to class with like clips and stuff, and they're like, Miss Christine's crazy, and I'm like, you got it.
Yeah, we got rid of everything. You have a bun head, that represents the color of your class, and you're done. The only thing we don't is we try to keep it as uniform as possible.
Yeah. And I think in some ways, the area that you're in Haiti is definitely way more developed than Guatemala, because most of my students, I think of all my students, only 3 of them have cell phones. And my students are from age baby to age 15. So that's really interesting, because I wasn't sure the development-wise, I know Haiti in some ways is more developed, but maybe Guatemala, because of exports and stuff, might be in other ways more developed.
It's in Haiti, it's not that but everybody has a cell phone. I've noticed that even some of my orphanage kids show up and they have a cell phone. I'm just like, okay.
How do
they have cell phones. So, but we make sure that, nobody feels that everybody has to be the same. And even when we've made it to the point that if you look through our Instagram, even our travel videos, when we travel to YAGP, there are orphanage kids that travel. There are all kinds of kids travel. We make sure even our suitcases are the same. So that nobody tries to outplay or outdo anybody.
Oh, wow, that's so much extra effort. And I think that really talks right to the point. It does mean if you're having a program that reaches out to other students, you need the extra funding, you need the extra time to invest to understand their situations. And then you need the extra patience too, because in some cases it's much more of a learning curve. Did that sum it up well?
It is. And, it's a learning curve for everybody. Like, it's a learning curve for the kids that, like, let's say when we travel, the kids that are taking this plane and traveling to the States for the first time, you have that fear of, what does it feel like to be in a plane for the first time? What is that? What am I going to do? Where am I going? I'm going to spend a week with Lynn and Marynn without my parents. So these kids have real fears of being taken from their community. Yes, they want to go to do something they love to dance, but there's still the fear of what is a plane. When they get to the States, we don't have highways in Haiti. I'm sure you don't in Guatemala. Like, we don't have anything like I-95 in Haiti. So you take this child, you put him on a plane, then you take him to I-95 for 3 hours, and then you end up in Orlando, Florida, and this kid's like, so it's a whole process of explaining to these kids what they're gonna live. And then it's a process of explaining to the other kids that have traveled how you're gonna help your friends that's never traveled.
Okay.
Because it's not only making them become friends, it's making them help each other in life.
Yeah. I think it's amazing. Just you have so much wisdom and passion to do this, and it's so easy for a dance studio to do it for the fame and the glam, but it's really beautiful that you're doing it to help grow kids and also teach them an amazing art to express themselves in a competitive
I
way.
yes, I would love to see my kids. Like I tell my son every day, he's my son. Like if people ask me, I honestly say, I have one child I gave birth to, but I have 250 kids. And my son he calls them all his brothers and sisters
Uh-huh.
because we really live we're a family.
Yeah.
And I think
Amazing.
it's really hard for us to all be apart from each other and all be stuck at home and not be able to see each other. It's hard.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. I have a question. So, one of the situations that's happening at one of the orphanages that I am partnered with is not all of the children from the orphanages are dancing ballet as the same in your situation. Oops, sorry.
Good.
You see me picking on the bottoms.
Are you okay?
Yeah. The phone just fell. Wearing pajama pants if you saw them. So one of the orphanages, the children are being made fun of because they're practicing their ballet from home, and not all the kids do that. And actually, in one of the orphanages, all of the girls almost do ballet because I guess all the girls there, the culture might be a little more girly or something like
Mhm.
that. The other one, ballet is the other orphanage, none of the boys are interested in dance, and most of the girls love sports a lot and have been invited to try ballet when I first connected with them, but only two of the girls were interested, and then the tiny babies, but the tiny babies they're not preteens or teenagers, so they don't
Yeah.
go to the same dialogue as preteens or teenagers. So I've been told that the girls who dance with me, who are at this one orphanage, they're kind of being made fun of by the other girls at home when they're trying to practice their ballet. And there's not like a lot of space where they can go somewhere isolated to practice dance because there's multiple students in a children's home. I'm multiple children in the children's home. And so I try to work with them to see if there's like a possible way for a schedule, but also they need to have access to a phone or a computer when the other girls aren't using it, and if they all have free time at the same time, and it's hard to juggle so many children. They're not. I'm just trying to come up with a solution that will work so the kids can comfortably take dance and not feel like they are being bullied. Do you have
Um,
anything to
you
advice
can't
for that?
stop the bullying. I mean, my kids I'll say from Imagine Missions, I have my two boys that traveled with us last year. They got bullied for doing ballet because, in the Haitian community, it's right now that boys are starting to dance. It's
Yeah.
been only for the last 3 or 4 years that boys dance too, that ballet is okay for boys. And what I told my boys is, you guys like to dance? And they said, we love to dance. I go, so just hold your head up and just tell your friends, I love to dance. I want to dance. I love to dance. Do I make fun of you for playing soccer? No. Do I make fun of you for playing basketball? No. This is what I do. So there's really nothing you can do to stop it, but it's just helping them get the pride in themselves to be able to defend. Just say, this is what I do. This is what I want to do, and leave me alone.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think like I had to make a call too and talk with the girls, and I was like, especially one of them, she wants to pursue some type of dance for her future, and with unfortunately the academic level of many students that are in orphanages, they were pulled out of really hard situations, so academically they're absolutely not where they should be for their age group in a lot of cases. I was like, if you actually want to pursue dance, you cannot like listen to what these other girls are saying because you are putting your future in jeopardy. And it's like, I'm investing in you. Now, when you turn 18, if you decide that you don't want to do dance anymore, that's fine. But
That's
right
your
now, if
problem.
your goal is to become a ballet teacher for little girls, you need to say, this is my future. Let me have my future. And I'm deciding to do it.
And
And so it's just like heartbreaking.
that's a very important thing to teach them, is to teach them how to teach and to teach them how to take care of the younger ones, because the odds of these kids being able to make it to a professional company are very slim. But the
Yeah,
odds of
yeah.
these kids staying to work for you or to work for me or open up a smaller school in their community is big.
Yeah.
So teaching them responsibility, teaching them to love kids, teaching them to love everybody is, for us in Haiti, it's also trying to teach everybody to stop this divide. Because I don't know if anybody knows this, but in Haiti, there's a very huge divide, upper class, middle class, lower. There's a lot of people that want to push this divide. And us at IDD, it's our big thing. We don't want this divide. There is no divide at IDD. We are all a family. So we teach them to teach, we teach them to love, and that will probably help them more than any ballet you'll, because
Yeah.
that kid might not end up being a ballet teacher, but a school teacher.
Yeah. True.
So
Beautiful.
teaching them to teach is a very good thing too. And for Danielle had a question about how I keep my boy, how many boys I have. I'm sorry to say, but I do have about 35 boys in my program.
My gosh. Wow. That's a lot.
And every time I say that, I get the same reaction like, how do you do it? If everyone, there's a very simple way to get boys to dance, people. Just get them to realize how close they get to be friends with the girls. It's not that complicated.
Oh
They
my
get to
gosh.
be best friends with these girls. They get to pick up these girls, be best friends with them, travel with them. When all the other boys that don't dance can look at them only can look at these girls from afar. So it's very easy to get the boys to stay at dance. And at the end, they do love ballet. I mean, my boys love to dance. Danielle, I'll make sure that you talk to one of my boys who's now 21 and he's teaching for us now. His name is Ranael. He was supposed to go for a summer intensive he was supposed to go summer intensive in Washington, but sadly all the funds for his summer intensive got burned in the house 2 days before he traveled. So he was not able to travel, but he travels with us he travels with us on our dance competitions. He was in New York for the summer. Hey, my nephew's here. Hi, Vincent. So I will get you to talk to him. He should be here on Monday or Tuesday, so I'll get you guys to talk to him. So he can tell you about his little experience about what IDD's done.
Sorry, I'm just reading these comments.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, can you talk a little bit about losing boys? I know, well, I'll just make a little commentary about our situation. So the average age of my students is 8 right now. And I have 2 boys and they're both 11, and actually all the girls in the class are like 9, 10, 11, and then I have like a random 15 and 13-year-old. But in the beginning, they would make fun of the boys in the class, and I was like, this is absolutely not acceptable. Without boys in the class, you can only do half of what ballet is. So I don't know if you think you're better than them for being a female, but in ballet, the girl and the boy both have a very important role, just like in life. And so, what do you do when boys come in and they feel uncomfortable, or even if there's things at home happening? Like I know I lost one of my other boys because he was going home and he loved it. He would dance at home and his mom was okay with it, but then he went to school and then a lot of people made fun of him for dancing. And so his mom told him to quit because he was being bullied. So what do you do to kind of create a supportive environment? And I don't know, you can't change something that happens in a school building, but what do you do to create a supportive environment and talk to the parents of boys who are kind of going through that situation where they like to dance and they like being strong and the elegance of it, but the social aspect, which is kind of a barrier?
I think I have to be, for this one, I was lucky. I had the same problem. I would have boys come, they would start getting good, and they would quit until there was the Japanese ambassador, Mr. Hata, that came to live in Haiti with his son, Yoshi. And Yoshi joined our dance school, and Yoshi was a boy. And when everybody else saw that the foreign boy was doing ballet, it suddenly became okay for the local boys to do ballet because there was a foreigner doing it. So that was a major thing for me. That helped me a lot. And then after Yoshi, the fact that Ronael, the boy, who's now a teacher, traveled to IAGP, a lot of the parent, and for Rona, he got his US visa, he traveled to IAGP. A lot of the parents realized, like, wow, ballet is not just this thing that kids look pretty on stage. There's actually a future in it. So I think between Yoshi and Ronael, we gave the Haitian community a very new look of what ballet can look like for boys. I mean,
Wow.
after these, Yoshi and Ronael were the first boys we brought to YAGP. And after they came back from YAGP, it was so funny because a week later, the same school that had brought us Ronael, it's not an orphanage, but they always bring us kids. And that same school hadn't brought us kids for about 5 years. And we came back from YAGP with Ronael, and then within a week, we got a phone call from the director. And then the next day, he showed up with a bus full of 40 boys for us to audition. Because
Whoa.
they realized, like, okay, if this kid's traveling, this kid so
Yeah.
I think that we got pretty lucky, but I think it's just trying to, you have to show them what your school, what your community can do for their sons. And that will help a lot.
Now, on the flip side, I have gotten commentary from a few parents from situations of very low income where they came and they heard about my program and they asked, like, what could dance do for my child? Could he go to the US? Do you give academic scholarships? And I think my first goal is to use dance to share the love of Jesus with these kids. Like, I'm loving on them, and I do that through dance. And then as I get to know them and see their potential, I try to meet their needs based on the potential that I see and their income. But when families come to me and at the forefront, they're like, what can you do for me? It kind of reminds me, one, of a culture of dependency where because of a lot of nonprofits are based in developing countries, they think that I, for some reason, like, am giving out money. Do you have any commentary on that?
I know. I mean, my husband just passed by and told, make sure, fix what you just said, because I want to make it clear, IDD does not give visas. IDD gives letters that you are traveling with us. You go to the embassy, you get your visas. We don't give visas, but yes, we do get parents that show up and like, can my kid join your school because they don't have a US visa yet? No, it doesn't work like that. We're a dance school.
Like, offensive. Do you find that offensive? That is so offensive.
It is very offensive. But we do not give visas. We are a dance school. Now, if your kid is good enough to be able, because you're not just going to take all kids that join. There's 250 kids in the school. The biggest group we've traveled with was 40, which I will never do again. I love all you guys. All you guys that are online that were part of my 40, you know you're my 40s forever. But traveling with 40 kids is a lot.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
So
gosh.
we will probably bring it down to like 25 or 30, which is still a lot, but we have to handpick these kids that travel, and it's a
Of
process.
course.
I mean, it's a very hard process, and no, we do not give, we we don't do the codependency. I mean, your kid can dance. For your kid to come to dance, what your kid will get out of dance is the discipline, is the friendship, is you never know what that person next. I mean, my mom, I know she's upstairs, but my mom's biggest thing with our whole program is you don't know what the kid next to you at the bar is going to be in the future. They might be the next president or the next CEO of a Fortune 500 company. And you wanted to get a job there, you're not automatically going to get a job, but the fact that you were dance friends, it'll give you a bigger chance. So it's the
Yeah.
relationship that you build, the discipline you get, the responsibility that you learn from ballet. It's just, that's what ballet can give to your kids. not
Yeah.
a visa
Or a scholarship for school.
or a scholarship for school. Not that. We're not here for visas or scholarships for school. We're here to make better adults for the future.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, can you talk a little bit? I know that I think your time is running out. I know you have afternoon classes as well. Can you talk a little bit about the culture of dependency in a developing country and being an organization that looks in many ways as a nonprofit, but you're still trying to be sustainable and be run as a business?
It's almost impossible. It's almost impossible because everybody's dependent. I mean, as long as you say scholarship, even if you say it's very hard to try to put a line between it. So we try to say like we'll get sponsors for the trips, but we try not to give 100%.
Yeah.
So whether the parent has to give $10 for the whole year, we try not to give 100%. Why? Because if you give 100%, then there's no real appreciation for what you do. And I'm not talking about my kids. I'm talking about the parents.
Yeah.
The kids appreciate everything that we give them, but the parents, if everything is completely for free, they don't appreciate. And the one thing we try to do is, okay, we pay for the trip, we'll pay for the visa application, we'll pay for everything, but pay for the passport. That's like, we'll ask for that thing. If I want to be honest to you, Christine, and my mom has no idea that this happens because I pay for 90% of the passports. Because it's completely, the dependency is there, 100%.
Yeah.
It's really hard. And as a business, you know, and I'm sure Danielle knows, it's hard to survive. And, you know, I don't like asking for sponsors because, yeah, it's not something I like to do.
Yeah, and actually, one other commentary, if we're talking about, well, the reason I want to bring this next thing up is because many dance teachers are going to be watching this, and the difference between respect from parents. Remember when I told you that at my last dance recital, I had a sectioned off for the children from the orphanage for all the staff members, because I had like 40 children from the orphanage, and they're staff members that help all these kids do their hair, get changed, transport them, pick them up, bring them from the location A to the boat, from the boat to the dock, from the dock to the bus, from the bus to the orphanage. Like, I wanted a special section for them to thank them. I think this is something that a lot of dance teachers can relate to. I had a parent, as I told you before, who came in and put themselves in that section and said, I don't want to sit in the back. And I was like, well, this section is specifically for the staff members of this orphanage and the children that are coming to watch their friends dance from this orphanage, because they put in a lot of time. And also, the recital was to benefit the orphanage, to help them pay for their their boat transportation. So they pay for their own bus.
It's normal that they would have a special spot.
Yeah. So the parent was very upset and almost started, basically almost started to sing, because afterwards some parents asked me what happened. And I was like baffled that somebody would want to disrespect my event and also disrespect the event that it's trying to benefit children that aren't from a situation where they have special events very often, or they get out of the orphanage very often. And this also just happened to be a man that has his own business and is upper class. And I was highly offended and flustered, and I was like, oh Lord Jesus, help me control myself so I don't get aggressive or do something that I will regret, because I have to literally start my dance program in minutes. Can you talk a little bit about that, just for all the dance teachers watching, so that they can know they're not alone?
Yeah, I think it's also what Danielle just said. As dance teachers, and I was talking to another dance teacher on the phone 2 days ago here in Haiti. I was talking to Stephanie Berlo, and we both said the same thing, that we need to start looking at our kids. And it's the same thing Danielle just said. We need to start looking at our kids and stop looking at at the parents so much, because I think the kids appreciate us. The kids love us. The kids understand what we want for them. Yes, I understand without the parents, we don't have the kids. We don't have, the bills are
Ooh,
not
we're
paid.
about to be kicked off. I'm sorry. There's 20 seconds until Instagram is going to shut off this call. So last seconds.
So yeah, just we have to look at our kids and just show love to our kids and just try to ignore the parents as much as possible.
Okay, and if anyone wants to make a donation, they can contact Marynn on her Instagram, and I will be sharing it on the Instagram story. Thank you so much for your time.
All right, thank you. Bye.